and I've been looking very much forward to doing this webinar for you guys about creating augmented reality experiences using artificial intelligence. Um, I'm just going to make sure that everything is all right, and then we're going to get going in just a minute. Yeah, it seems like we are good. Who do we have here? We have Lawrence joining us. We have Søren is joining us later, I think. And as always, make sure to add any comments or questions throughout the webinar. All right, so let's get started. Let's see here. No, sorry. The agenda for today is I'm going to be going for around 30 minutes. We're going to be talking about what is generative AI, why AI is a game changer for augmented reality. Then I'm going to give you a quick overview of some of the tools that I've stumbled upon and that we have used in HoloLink. Then I have a short disclaimer around ethics, which I think is important for when you're working with artificial intelligence tools, because as Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. And then, of course, I'm going to be creating an augmented reality experience using some of these AI tools. And then we're going to end up with a quick demo. So that's the program for today. Let's get started. First off, I want to show you guys a small demo that is made entirely using artificial intelligence generative tools and the HoloLink AR editor. If you want, you can try it on your own phone, but I'm also gonna scan the QR code here, my phone. And then it loads up. I click tap to start. And then I can enable the audio up here, turn it up. And then when I point at it, oh, sorry. There we go. And let's just get the audio going. No, I'm just gonna try again. Let's see. Maybe it's because it's plugged into my computer. Yeah, the audio is not playing, but basically this video and actually the image that we're augmenting as well done completely using AI. Cool. So that's one example of what you could do with generative AI tools. But first, let's talk about what is augmented reality, generative AI tools actually. Essentially, it's a set of algorithms, explained very simply, that learns patterns from training training data, and the training data is oftentimes just the internet, all the videos and images and text bytes that are out there, and then based on that data and based on finding patterns in this data, it can generate text, images, video, 3D content, and so on. So just to explain it a bit more in detail, basically the way it works is the AI gets a bunch of data. It could be images of a banana, and then you enter a prompt for the AI, so it finds images that are related to that prompt, and then based on that, it generates some content. And you can see actually all of the slides that I've done here is auto created using AI, using a tool called Adobe Firefly that I'm going to get back to later. But basically, the way that AI works is it looks at a lot of content, data, images, text bytes, tweets on Twitter, books written by famous artists, and so on. Based on all of that, you can create a prompt, and then it generates content based on all the content that the AI has seen previously. Sort of like when humans get inspired from going to a museum. All right, so that's how it works. And then let's talk about why AI is a game changer for creating augmented reality. I I've been running HoloLink for a couple of years now, and one of the questions that I get over and over again is, well, augmented reality is great. Having a tool to create augmented reality is great as well, but uh, HoloLink is only giving people the platform for creating the AI experiences. And without any content, there's not really anything to show in augmented reality. So the need to create content has always been sort of a limitation. But now that content creation can be done in seconds instead of hours and days, you can prototype AI experiences much faster with custom content, and design skills is no longer a limitation, which means creativity rules. Only the imagination and the creativity is a barrier to what you can create as an augmented reality experience. So to say it mildly, that is really exciting. So really the big change that these AI tools are doing to our work lives, I would say, is it 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 transforms everyone from being a creator, creating a video or painting an image, writing emails and texts. Usually we would have to be creators creating content from scratch, and then we would also have to edit the content that we created ourselves. But now with AI, we are essentially skipping the step of being the content creator, because we can just ask the AI to do the content. And then all that we have to do, which is still a lot, is be the editors of of that content. So when I go to Adobe Firefly, for example, I enter a prompt of a guy standing with his back to the camera in a room full of tools. Then the AI is going to generate a full image of that in seconds. It's probably even going to create several of them. But I can't just take that and put it into whatever project I'm working on, because the content needs to be relevant to the project, to the brand, to the cultural setting that it's going to be used in, to the country, and so many other things. So we still need to be the editors, selecting which content gets put in. And oftentimes we also need to edit the content itself. Maybe it could be video clips generated using Runway ML. Then it might be that Runway ML creates the clips of video, but we still need to edit them together into a movie that makes sense and communicates whatever we are trying to say. So to sum up, the big transformation that AI is doing to our work lives as creatives is it transforms us from mainly being creators, making stuff from scratch, to now being mainly the editor of the content that the AI can generate. That's at least my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion in the comments here. All right, so let's talk about tools. And I've split it up, so we're going to be talking about tools for creating 2D images, tools for creating 3D objects, tools for audio, creating voiceovers and music and stuff. And yeah, then we're also going to be talking about video creation tools. Let's get into it. So first, I want to mention a couple of image generators. Tools for creating 2D images. You can see for this one, I've used Adobe Firefly. That's why there's a watermark down here. I deliberately chose not to remove it, because I wanted you guys to see that you can actually create an entire presentation just based on prompts into this platform. I particularly like Adobe Firefly. Actually, let me show it to you. I really like Adobe Firefly because you have quite a lot of like tools besides just the prompt. Down here you write a robot sitting at a computer and working, and then over here you can change, for example, maybe you don't want art, you want a photo instead, and maybe the style should be with like a sort of like bokeh or maybe a misty kind of image, and then you can see it starts regenerating. Um, so now we get something else. So I have a bit more control than if I'm using, for example, a platform like DALL-E, where I only have the prompt section here. So I could use the same prompt, robot sitting at a desk working, generate that. That's actually also one of my tips that I use myself. Is I'll oftentimes use the same prompt across different platforms, and then see which one creates the exact image that I need for my project. So you can see here I get a completely different style, and maybe if that had been the art direction I had chosen for my project, maybe those would have been better. So that's DALL-E. We just had Adobe Firefly. Then there's Midjourney. That's I would say, in my experience, a bit more artistic. It's a bit harder to use because you have to do it via a chat platform called Discord. Then there's also a platform called ClipDrop, where this is one of my favorite ones, where you can actually doodle in something. You can see it here. I've doodled a guy standing on a cliff with a house in the background and some images flying. You can clearly see that from my doodle, right? But luckily, I can also write a prompt down here, and then it generates images based on that. So I could draw something. And maybe we have the sun up here. And then we could write man smiling on a sunny day in let's say Copenhagen. And yes, sunny days do happen in Copenhagen from time to time. And when they're not, it's good we have AI to make it happen. So there we have that. Personally, my favorite tool for creating 2D images is a platform called Blockade Labs or Skybox by Blockade Labs. And that's technically not 2D images because it's actually a 360 image that you can move around and look around. And this is really great when creating augmented reality or even virtual reality projects, because you can really quickly create a backdrop for your experience. So you can write here an image of Nyhavn in Copenhagen, Denmark. It takes a bit of time to generate, so I'm gonna get back to that one later. So that's the 2D image generators that I wanted to mention. And yeah, a good tip is to use the same prompt on multiple platforms to see where you get the best result. Then in terms of video creators, I think the most famous one is Runway ML. Oh, here we actually have the 360 image of Nyhavn. And for those of you who has been to Nyhavn, you probably say that this is quite accurate, actually. And I could also change the style of it if I wanted to be maybe, oh, is that right? Yeah. I could make it more tech noir / cyberpunk, and maybe even more realistic. And yeah, now I need to upgrade. Anyways, so that's for creating 360 images. Then there's Runway ML, which you've probably seen on LinkedIn, where you can do text to video, which is quite cool. I would say it's video creation from AI is still definitely in the early days, but you can still do some pretty cool things. For example, in terms of changing the art style of a video and creating short clips. Oftentimes, it's only at the level where you can do like a really weird cyberpunk techno music video. I wouldn't use it for anything that's supposed to look like realistic, at least yet. Uh, with Runway, you can also do a couple of other things like removing the background, and you can actually also create textures for 3D objects, which again is really just creating 2D images based on a prompt. Um, Actually, for clip drop, they also have a bunch of other tools like image upscaler, or you can even relight an an image. So I can take this image and then maybe I want the lighting to be here instead, and maybe the lighting should be, I don't know, red, and there we go. So now she's ready for a poster for a new action movie or something. All right. So, oh yeah, and then there's also one that I actually learned about today, which is Pika Labs, which I think is a good alternative to Runway ML, but I haven't gotten to play around it that much. My favorite video creation platform, which we're also going to be using for an AI experience in a second, is a platform called DID, where you can easily animate images. So I have, for example, uploaded an image of me. You can see here, and then I made it talk. But I could you might think, well, why don't you just record a video of yourself? But in the fast-paced world of marketing and advertising, oftentimes you don't have time to create a nice video, especially if it's just for a prototype or a pitch to a client. So DID is really useful for that. Um, And actually, for this one, I've uploaded an audio clip that I then got DID to make a video based on. So that's why my mouse is moving instead. All right, so that's video platforms. And yeah, a good tip there is also to edit clips together because you can get it to. The AI still needs quite a lot of direction. So it's easy if you can direct it for like short clips and then edit those clips together yourself afterwards. So yeah, again, you're the editor, not the creator, like you used to be, you could say. All right. The last one I'm going to talk about is tools for creating audio. My personal favorite that I've been using a lot is 11 Labs for creating voiceovers. I just saw on TechCrunch they had a big announcement that I think now that platform is not in beta anymore. Whatever that means. It's, in my opinion, it's always been great for creating voiceovers and speeches, essentially. There's a bunch of built-in voices, like this one. So the quality is quite good. You also have female voices. And you can also create your own by uploading an audio clip. And this is also a place where the ethics comes in, both in case of 11 Labs and DID. Of course, you shouldn't use it to revive dead people or yeah, do anything inappropriate. But 11 Labs is really great for creating voiceovers. Then another platform which is a bit more quirky, I would say, is a tool called MusicGen, which is actually made by Facebook or Meta, I guess. But here you can create music based on prompts. So I got it to write a techno song about augmented reality. And let's see. So that's one way of creating. If you just need like a background soundtrack to an AI experience, here it can be done quite fast. And if you don't have a subscription to like Epidemic Sound or one of those platforms, this is I would say a promising tool. I wouldn't say it's quite there yet, but doing weird techno is apparently something it's good at. So Music Gen by Facebook, and yeah, this one is found via Hugging Face, so I didn't have to set up the model myself on my own server and everything, but I can just go and use it. All right, 3D creators. A tool for creating 3D content. The first one I want to mention here is Alpha 3D. Besides being a very promising platform, there are also really nice people that I've had the pleasure of meeting a couple of times. But with Alpha 3D, they right now you can only do sofas and sneakers. And the way you can do a sneaker is by uploading an image, and then it turns that into a 3D model. So this is the result. Maybe it's not really there yet, but maybe you could use this for a really like lo-fi prototype. It's based on this image. So I got some of the colors right, but I wouldn't say it's quite there yet. But to be honest, also spoiler alert, there's not really. I haven't seen any like text to 3D content creation platforms that has really impressed me, and I think the main reason for that is, as I said earlier, back to the point with the banana. You need a lot of images of bananas in order to get it to create an image of a banana, and there's quite few 3D models of bananas, so that's why it's quite up. That's why I think there's not a lot of great 3D content creation tools out there yet. But I have a couple of ones that I would say are quite promising. The first one is Alpha 3D that I just showed you. Then there's one called Sloyd. Sloyd. I don't know how. I think they're Scandinavian in some way. And you can see it here. Let me just reload the page. So I'd say this is a great platform for creating. It feels sort of like an extended Sketchfab tool. So I can create a UFO. Let's see. Maybe I fucked something up. Let's see. No. Okay. So I can create a project and I'll add an object. Let's say that's my UFO. I'm adding that, and then I have a couple of like parameters I can tweak over here. Like for example, body count. I can change the look of it. I can switch the wackiness of it. So this is, I would say it feels somewhere between being a 3D editor and an actual AI creation tool. But still good to play around with, I would say. And of course, you can easily go and export it as a GLB, and use that within your HoloLink augmented reality project. You can see here, I've uploaded the UFO into a scene, and one of the cool features of the HoloLink platform is, of course, that you can animate it. So you can add keyframes with the advanced animations. So now we have a UFO that's flying around us, which is quite cool. All right, so that was Slide, and then there's 3D-FI, which is this one, where I think it feels like 3DFI is a bit more ahead than Sloyd, but the downside is I haven't been able to actually download any of the stuff that I created with the platform because I don't have a paid subscription. But it's good because you can download GLB files and use those straight in the HoloLink platform. And you can see here, I have a couple of things to choose from. For example, I can also choose tables, and let's just choose one of the preset prompts. Mid-century table sounds good to me. And then it's taking some time to generate it. So maybe we can check back later and see a cool piece of potential IKEA furniture from in here. And then I just wanted to mention a platform called Spline, which doesn't yet have an AI feature, but you can see it's coming soon. And the rest of the platform that doesn't use AI is extremely cool, I think, for creating 3D objects that I think they support exporting those as actually let's just check that, because Spline is mainly a tool for creating 3D experiences that you can embed into a website. I think they also, it seems like they're working on making it possible to export the 3D objects. You can actually use them in other platforms. But one platform that definitely does support exporting 3D content and creating 3D content even simpler than using Blender, a free open source tool, is Victory, where you can really easily create 3D objects. Maybe you want to go with the tree light setup, and then I can just start creating something. So this is very simple, but you can see, I think they have like a library. Yeah, you can see it is possible to create some quite advanced things in here that can also be exported as GLB files for use in HoloLink. And here you have Spline again. I just wanted to check whether you can. No, I'm not sure about. There we have the export. 3 formats: a format, GLB, export, and then let's see that in the HoloLink platform. Yeah, it's not exporting the textures yet, so you only get the mesh, so it's not colored like you can see the UFO is here, for example. But with Victory, it is possible to export it with the textures, so you can actually, so it has colors and stuff. Okay, that's apparently on the Pro plan now. But you can still export it as an OBJ and then put it into Blender, convert it, and then it should work. Right, sorry, that was sort of like a sidetrack. Luma Labs is also one I want to mention. It's technically more like photogrammetry and less classic AI where you write in a prompt. But that's one platform that I'm certainly keeping an eye on because it seems to just be such a game changer in being able to 3D scan objects and then exporting them. I think right now you can only export it as a nerve, or maybe you can export it as a 3D model as well. It doesn't seem like it. Because basically a nerve and a 3D model is not entirely the same. Then a nerve is sort of a uh, like a machine learning model that has been trained on the data capture of several frames in a video, for example, and then it has created something that isn't really a mesh of like triangles, so it's not like a solid thing. It's more like a recording of the light in some way. That's a total sidetrack. But nerves are definitely cool, and I can't wait to see where Luma Labs is going to take that next. All right. So I just want to briefly, and I can see I'm running over time already, but in terms of ethics, just yeah, remember that with great power comes great responsibility, especially with these new AI tools. Don't use it to create fake information, fake news, anything that impacts the world in a bad way. It's a really short version. All right, so I wanted to also show you how to, how to actually create just a really simple 3D, AR experience using some of these tools. So I'm going to be using DID, 11 Labs, and Skybox to create the 360 backdrop. And the thing that we're going to be making is this AI experience. Using the new loading screens that we have. I'm going to unmute it, continue, and I'm sorry about the audio, but here it's really saying, yeah, I can show you what it's saying in a second. And then we get into a 360 AI experience where the backdrop is made using Skybox by Blockade Labs. And this is actually also available as a template inside the HoloLink editor, where it's called MLS Quests. I'll show you that in a second. But basically, this AI experience is about you need to interact with some old tapes in order to find clues about which of these floating balls that you need to click on in order to save the resistance instead of destroying it. All right, so how to create this using some of these AI tools. Let's start with DID because that's the one I use to create all the video content. So with DID, I uploaded an image of me to use that as a character. And then I went to 11 Labs to create the voiceover for it. Let's see here if I can find my history. So this is the voiceover that I made. Then I took that voiceover and put it into DID as an audio file, and then animated me or the avatar based on that. And that's what you can see in here. And then I also went and created a animation just without it saying anything, but just an idle sort of like state. So the character is still moving, even though it's not saying anything. So that's how I used 11 Labs for the voiceover. I used DID for the video, and then I used Blockade Labs to create an image of the inside of a space station from a sci-fi movie. And then let's make it a digital painting and click. Okay. Yeah, and needed to upgrade, but I want to log into the platform, I guess. But basically, that's how I created the content. Then let's look at how I set it up in the HoloLink editor. So this project I started with the Emily's Quest template down here, which you can see looks like this. And yeah, in the first scene, I'm just asking people to unmute, and then there's a video here, and let's just go back to the one where I changed it. So in the new version, I've added a video here where it's just an idle video asking people to unmute, and then when people click continue, it goes to this scene where I added the video from DID. You can see it down here. I added that on top of the image, the anchor image. One really cool thing that we just implemented, we now have keyboard shortcuts. So check this out. Instead of having to go all the way down here to click play, I can just click space. Quite cool. Anyways, so I added the video on top of the anchor image in this first scene, and then I set a timer. So when the video ends, it changes scene to this scene, where I then added the idle video and also added a button from our standard library or start button or something. And then I added a quick animation so it animates not from 1 to 0, but from 0 to 1, because I set it to play backwards. And there you go. And then when people click on that, it changes scene to the introduction scene, which is then this one. And then here I haven't finished changing this video to the video of me instead, but I could quite easily do that and do the same for the rest of the experience. Create new voiceovers with the Never Labs. So if I were to change that, I would go to 11 Labs. Let's see if I have the prompt. Yeah, here we go. So that's the text. And then I would create a new one with the column, I think. There we go. Generate. Nice. And did you hear how dramatic I sounded in that one? I think I actually like the dramatic version of me even more. Choose wisely. There you go. And then go into HoloLink, remove the old audio clip, and add a new one by uploading it. There we go. Oh, now I actually have both. Let me just reload it to make sure everything is all right. I think that's something we need to fix with that. But anyways, that's how you would go about editing a template and creating your own version, and how you can use AI tools to create the content for your augmented reality experience. And as you can hopefully already see now, you can create AI experiences much faster by using some of these new AI generative tools. Maybe we could take this techno song we made and use that as a background audio. Oh, what? For some reason, I exported it as an MP4, a video file. Let's just convert that into a. There you go. So we get the right one. So now we can use that as the soundtrack background audio for our AI experience. Nice. So yeah, that's a brief introduction to some of these AI tools, how you can use them in augmented reality projects, and these tools keep updating and changing. So my main advice to you guys is just stay curious, just jump in. The majority of all of these tools have a free trial, so you can try them out and see which ones works for you. And yeah, then stay curious, stay creative, and thanks for listening in. Thanks, guys. See you around. Bye.